Why does printing more money make you poorer? It feels like having more cash should make everyone richer. In reality, money is a medium of exchange, not wealth itself. If you print more money, you aren't creating more goods. You are simply splitting the same economic pie into more pieces. The pie remains the same size, but each piece is worth less. Wealth is created by production, not by the printing press. To understand how money supply affects the economy, we turn to the quantity theory of money, represented by the equation M times V equals P times Q. Here, M is the money supply, V is the velocity, P is the price level, and Q is the total quantity of goods produced in the economy. If the amount of money in the system increases, but the actual production of goods remains unchanged, we create a situation where more dollars are chasing the same amount of products. Since printing money does not magically create more products, the inevitable result is that the price level must rise. Each unit of money now represents a smaller claim on the total economic output. Money represents a claim on resources. In a stable economy, the amount of money in circulation is balanced by the goods and services available. If the government prints more claims without adding more resources, the pie stays the same size. Each individual claim now represents a smaller fraction of the same economic pie. Your nominal wage may rise, but your purchasing power, what you can actually buy, declines. Purchasing power is defined as the volume of goods or services that a single unit of money can command in the market. When central banks expand the money supply, the volume of currency increases significantly. However, the total production of goods and services remains relatively stagnant. Because there are now more units of money chasing the same amount of goods, the price floor of everything rises. Each individual dollar now claims a smaller share of the economic basket. New money doesn't enter the economy evenly. It usually starts at the source with governments and large financial institutions. They receive the newly printed money first, before prices have a chance to adjust to the increased supply. Because they gain access to this capital early, they hold significant purchasing power while prices are still low. By the time this money trickles down to the general economy, price levels have already shifted upward. This creates an uneven advantage. Early recipients of new money spend it while prices are still at their current levels. They capture the most value before the market adjusts. However, by the time this money trickles down to the average citizen, the increased supply has pushed demand up, causing prices for goods and services to rise. This lag creates the Cantillon Effect. Late receivers find that their nominal savings are now worth less, as each dollar now buys a smaller portion of the economy than it did before. Between 2020 and 2023, G7 nations undertook a historic expansion of the M2 money supply, increasing it by 20 to 40%. This wasn't just a slight adjustment. It was a massive injection of liquidity into the global economy. This surge in money supply is the primary engine behind the global cost of living crisis we are witnessing today. As the supply of money grew, the purchasing power of each individual unit began to erode, leading to the sustained price increases seen in 2026. This period serves as a critical case study in how rapid monetary expansion inevitably cascades into consumer price inflation, creating long-term structural challenges for households worldwide. Governments today face record debt-to-GDP ratios, leaving them with limited options to balance their budgets. To manage this, central banks intervene by purchasing government debt. They create new money, essentially out of thin air, to buy these bonds. This is the act of debt monetization. This creates a dangerous loop. Printing currency to fund debt interest creates an excess of money supply, which inevitably fuels long-term inflation and erodes purchasing power. We are witnessing a shift toward fiscal dominance. In this scenario, central banks face intense pressure to keep interest rates artificially low. The government's massive debt creates a trap. If interest rates rise, the cost of servicing that debt becomes impossible to manage. Because of this, central banks are effectively forced to maintain low rates to fund government deficits, rather than managing inflation. This limits their ability to fight rising prices, making it much harder to return to pre-2020 price baselines. When printed money is directed toward consumption or debt interest rather than productive investment, the economy faces a dangerous risk: stagflation. Productive investment builds capacity and growth. But when money only fuels consumption, we get the worst of both worlds: stagnant growth and rising costs. This combination is stagflation. It halts progress while eroding the purchasing power of every dollar, creating a cycle that is difficult to escape. In recent years, many have seen their paychecks increase in number. This is your nominal wage. However, money supply growth often drives prices higher. This is your real wage, what that paycheck actually buys. Data from 2025 reveals a stagnation. While nominal figures rise, the gap shows a decline in your standard of living. When money supply grows faster than the economy, your cost of living climbs. You are effectively working for less than you were 4 years ago. Historical extremes like Weimar Germany and Zimbabwe demonstrate that when governments cannot tax or borrow enough, they resort to the printing press. When the money supply expands without a corresponding increase in real economic output, each unit of currency loses its claim on value. This destroys the currency's function as a store of value, eventually leading to hyperinflation, where prices rise uncontrollably and savings are erased. Monetarists argue that inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. They blame the excessive expansion of the money supply in the early 2020s for today's price levels. Conversely, proponents of modern monetary theory argue that currency expansion is a valid tool for achieving full employment, provided that the new money is funneled into productive investments rather than pure consumption. The central conflict today is whether this printed liquidity actually builds the economic base or simply dilutes the purchasing power of the average citizen through hidden inflation. A healthy economy grows through the production of goods, services, and technological innovation. Printing more money is not the same as creating wealth. Real wealth comes from adding value. When we innovate or create goods and services, we increase the size of the total economic pie. The mechanical act of increasing currency units only increases the claims on existing wealth, whereas production creates new wealth for everyone. Modern central banks frequently use monetary expansion as a primary tool for debt management. This constant increase in the supply of fiat currency often leads to the erosion of its value over time. As a result, global investors are increasingly seeking alternatives. Capital is flowing away from traditional fiat systems toward non-dilutable assets. Assets like gold and decentralized protocols are now viewed as essential hedges against this currency debasement. Investors choose them for their scarcity and resistance to central control. Unlike sudden market crashes, modern monetary expansion creates a slow-motion erosion of wealth. While a crash is immediately visible, this gradual decline is often ignored in daily life. Over years, this silent process significantly diminishes the middle class's ability to preserve value. It is a persistent tax on the long-term saver, making standard of living harder to maintain. For money to function as a reliable store of value, its supply must remain stable. This ensures that the purchasing power you save today will be there tomorrow. However, when the supply is manipulated for political or fiscal goals, money loses its reliability. It no longer acts as a stable vessel for your savings. This erosion of trust forces people to seek alternative assets that hold value more effectively, such as precious metals, commodities, or other stores of wealth. In a healthy economy, prices act as signals. They tell businesses what society values and what is needed most. When artificial money is pumped into the system, it acts like a magnet, distorting the compass. Businesses receive false information. They invest in projects that aren't actually sustainable. This is known as malinvestment. By distorting price signals, the economy misallocates its limited resources, causing long-term waste instead of real, productive growth. Governments often carry massive amounts of debt. This debt represents a promise to pay back a specific amount of money in the future. When central banks print money, the total supply increases. This inflation devalues the currency. As money becomes more plentiful, its purchasing power drops. Crucially, this benefits the government. Because the nominal debt remains the same fixed number, but the currency is worth less, the real value of that debt effectively shrinks. Essentially, by printing money to pay back debt, the government is paying off creditors with cheaper inflated currency. It is a form of hidden taxation, transferring wealth from savers to the state. Savers are often the unintended victims of monetary expansion. Holding cash in a bank account creates a psychological illusion of safety. While your account balance remains static, the true value of your money is measured by what it can buy. As the total money supply increases, each dollar represents a smaller fraction of the economy. Even if your digital balance stays at $10,000, your purchasing power silently evaporates. You are essentially losing value to inflation every single day. This slow-motion erosion means that over time, your hard-earned savings buy fewer goods and services. The money isn't disappearing from your account, but the wealth it represents is being redistributed through the economy. Printing money does not create wealth. It only increases claims on the existing economy. When claims grow faster than real goods, each claim is worth less. This triggers the Cantillon Effect, where wealth is transferred from the public to those closest to the money source before prices rise. Ultimately, money printing is a form of hidden taxation. It rewards the few at the expense of the many, silently eroding your savings. Ultimately, if you want a stronger economy, the answer is not in the printing press, but in innovation, education, and the production of real goods. True prosperity is built, not printed. It is the result of human ingenuity and effort creating tangible value.